I am loath to admit this, but I have missed this man. I have missed the stat of the day. He's been very busy fighting for the right things, fighting in Hollywood. He is a freedom fighter.
I mean, let's go already. What's going? What's taking so long?
Yeah, let's. We need our content. What is taking so long? What you're not allowed to talk about the strike still, right? Or what can you say publicly? Anything?
Well, I mean, I can talk about it generally. I can't talk about the actual negotiations such as they are. But yeah, what's taking so long is that the companies that we're trying to negotiate with are a little bit in disarray. I would say they're having a hard time getting on the same page. You saw yesterday that Warner Brothers Discovery announced they're going to lose between $300 and $500 million because of the strikes. And the total amount of money we're asking from that company specifically is about $40 million. So when you're throwing away $500 million to save $40 million, there's a disconnect somewhere. And we are trying to, I mean, I think they are trying to figure out how to proceed. But it's beyond the point of being rational. I think it's now a question of whether these 8 or so companies that are fierce competitors with each other can actually get on the same page and be rational in terms of how they make a deal with us. So I don't know. It's a little bit like ask them. Go ask them. Go ask Disney what they're doing. Go ask Warner Brothers. Ask Apple and Amazon and Netflix and. Because at this point, they're the ones who have to sort of figure out what the path forward is, I'd say.
What happens first? You guys agree to a deal, or the Blazers finally come back and say Tyler Hero is fine?
That's a good question. I mean, when's the NBA trade deadline?
February.
Yeah, we'll make a deal first. I can almost guarantee that we will make a deal before Damian Lillard puts on a Heat uniform.
What can you tell us is the most fascinating thing? Because you really are in the trenches, in the thicket on this thing. And you've got a good governor for things that are interesting. So I imagine this is perpetually stimulating as well as stressful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, stressful is, it's stressful to have people out of work, not only us, but all the people who work on all of the shows and movies in town. That's a very stressful thing. And it's been 130 days or so now. Like it's not, we are deep into this. The last strike in 2007 lasted 100 days. There's only been, I think, 1 or 2 others that lasted longer than this one has already lasted. So we feel that stress. We knew we were going to feel that. It's not a surprise, but, this is the first time that we have had in this negotiation between the unions and the companies a bunch of new faces, right? Netflix, Amazon, and Apple were not around in 2007 when we did this the last time, and it's hard not to tie some of the difficulties that we've had negotiating with them to that simple fact that they didn't exist. Like they're new, they've never been through this before. They have a different business model that upended Hollywood, and I'm not blaming them necessarily, but I think it's not a coincidence that in a period of time when whole entirely new companies showed up and started doing things in a new way, that when you get down to the nitty gritty of how people get paid to make this stuff, they have a different view of it. So I think that's the biggest kind of puzzle that we're trying to solve here.
Unfortunately, you're not allowed to talk about it, so that stinks.
So,
by the way, I wore this shirt for Stugotz, and he's not here.
No.
Can everybody see this?
Grateful Dead?
A Grateful Dead Red Sox shirt.
Wow.
Yeah.
That might be the whitest shirt ever.
Yeah.
My friend Matt, who is indeed white, got this for me at a Dead and Company show.
Is it Matt Damon?
And I'm... I've never seen the Grateful Dead or Dead and Company, but I thought it would make Stugotz happy. And shocker, he's not here.
Is it Matt Damon, though?
No. What are you talking about?
You should know Stugotz isn't on the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, Mike Schur.
Yeah.
That's
right. It's my bad. It's my bad for not figuring that out.
Matthew Modine?
Are you surprised?
Yes, it's Matthew Modine. Good job.
Are you surprised when you hear the thing floated out there, the theory floated out there that Apple is going to buy Disney?
Am I surprised at that?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not. The rumors are. There have been so many rumors about consolidation in the last couple of years, and these companies are just scrambling to get bigger and bigger and bigger and buy more, compete. Like that's what's funny to me is that let's say there's any truth at all to that rumor, right? Apple might buy Disney. Apple and Disney are two different companies that we are negotiating with at the same time who are purporting to be on the same side. So like they're like linking arms and teaming up and negotiating with unions and at the same time secretly planning to like eat each other for lunch. Like that's what I mean when I say that I don't think it's a coincidence that these new companies have showed up from a different business entirely, from computers or retail sales or just streaming in general. And they're like, they hate each other. These companies hate each other. They're in direct competition and they want to destroy each other. But for the purposes of collective bargaining, they link arms and they act like they're friends. So it's just a very difficult situation. And unfortunately, the results of that difficulty are that a bunch of people are out of work for a very long time. So I just hope that, I don't know, I hope that they're in a room somewhere putting their heads together, calling a temporary truce, promising not to eat each other for lunch, and then moving on.
Mike, 2 questions. Question 1, assuming labor peace happens here soon, do you feel like this is going to be a long-lasting one, or are you guys going to go through this again at the end of the collective bargaining agreement? And then second question, was it Matt LeBlanc?
Well, to answer your first question, I would say that the way that this has gone traditionally in this town is that every 9 or 12 years, there's some kind of little flare-up of a problem, a structural problem that needs to be fixed. That's not just arguing over dollars and cents, but actually really getting in there and changing something structural about the system. That, generally speaking, has led to a decade of labor peace. I'm not saying that's going to happen now, but I think if we can fix the problem, then there's a decent chance that we will have a decade or so of relative peace. To answer your second question, yes, it was also Matt LeBlanc. It was Matthew Modine and Matt LeBlanc who gave me this
Did
shirt.
you have any kind of reaction to Bill Maher, who has become an angry, bitter old person shouting at young people? Basically, it seemed to me, going against the writers who keep his show on the air, or at least sounding like he didn't think this was as easy as it's being made out to be, which is this is a lot of greedy people who are trying to cement mixer labor.
Yeah. Bill Maher, who I don't know, and I'll say this diplomatically, has a penchant for speaking very confidently about things he does not understand in the slightest. So it doesn't surprise me when he says things like that, because that's his move. His move is he rolls out of bed, he slumps into his studio, a topic gets thrown out, and he speaks with extreme confidence, like overwhelming, just rich white dude confidence about what's going on in that particular arena of the world. And never, ever, Bill Maher has never once in his life gone like, yeah, I don't really know a lot about that. Let me read up on it. Like he's never said that. He's never said like, hey, can you do me a favor and help educate me about this particular subject? He just talks straightforwardly about the truth of the matter as he sees it, regardless of how ill-informed he is. So, yeah, that did not surprise me at all.
Well, he's got a lot of segments in his his show that he has to fill. So maybe sometimes he just runs out of, topics to talk about and decides to just say what's on his mind without having the time to fully Google it. Like, if it were like the Marlins or something that he's not paying that much attention to.
Yeah, he should just do crossword puzzles.
Yeah, actually, I think we'd all be better off if he just did crossword puzzles.
Matt LeBlanc was actually an answer for 13 across.
Let's do the stat of the day, please.
Damn it!
Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, it is your start of the day.
First of all, Roy, thank you for turning on original sound so I can hear the music.
You got it.
Your major league leader in strikeouts this year as a hitter is Eugenio Suarez, one of Mike Ryan's favorite players. Eugenio Suarez. He has struck out 182 times in 139 games. Tony Gwynn struck out 188 times in the 1990s.
10 years?
10 full seasons.
To be fair, one of those was strike shortened, so it's like 9.5. I see what you're doing there.
That's a good
playing with
point.
the
It would have been
numbers.
it would have been at least 189 times if if this season had been struck. There's another crazy stat. I'm in a real Tony Gwynn rabbit hole these days. My friend Justin pointed that out to me. This was an article on MLB.com. He faced 18 Hall of Fame pitchers in his career, a total of 541 plate appearances, which is basically a full season of hitting against just Hall of Famers. And in those 541 plate appearances, he hit 331. Guy was incredible.
Bieber?
Was the friend Justin Long?
Oh, you blew it.
She said Bieber. She said Bieber, and I laughed.
He's talking too much on too many networks, too many
That
programs.
was my fault.
It was Thoreau, right?
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell me whether you think your
Timberlake?
Tony Gwynn stats
Trudeau!
are better than yesterday's Tony Gwynn stat, which is that Pete Rose could come out of retirement right now at 82, go 750 for his next 750, and still have a lower batting average than Tony Gwynn?
That's pretty good. You want to hear my favorite one?
Yes.
Mike, get ready to say the word nice. Tony Gwynn came to the plate 69 times with runners on second and third
Nice.
and 2 outs and never struck out once. Not one
That's
time
actually nice.
did he ever strike out in that scenario. It's incredible. He faced Greg Maddux 107 times and hit 415 against him. He was ridiculous.
Good seeing you again. Good to have you back. We're going to wear you out next week, sir.
Sounds good. Bye, everyone.